Section 6.5 is on polynomial equations, and the majority of the work in this section is factoring. So it's kind of like a further review of all of the different factoring methods that we've learned. Now we are going to be solving an equation, so it's not just going to be like a factored form as our answer. We're going to use the factored form to get x is equal to something, or x is equal to a couple different numbers. So you will notice that our questions do have equal signs here. It says one of the main applications of factoring is the ability to solve equations that contain an x squared, an x cubed, x to the fourth, etc. So these higher powers, because of factoring, we're actually able to solve these. The zero product property is kind of important for these. It says if a times b is equal to 0, so let's say you have some number, I'm going to call it a, I don't know what it is, and I have another number, I'm going to call it b, I don't know what it is, but if I multiply them together and equal 0, then I know something about them. I know that either a has to be 0, or b has to be 0, or they both have to be 0. And that's going to kind of help us solve these. So because of this property, our first step when solving these equations is to first get everything on one side and 0 on the other side. So looking at number 1, I do want to factor this eventually, and it's easier to factor when my x squared term is positive. So I'm going to move everything to the left instead of moving everything to the right. So this will be 7x squared minus 30x plus 8 is equal to 0. And now I want to factor this. I can't take out a GCF, so I'm just going to do the AC method. So my AC is 56, my B is negative 30. So if I do 2 and 28, that gives me 30. Let's try the negative version, and that does work. So I'm going to change these to be negative 28x and negative 2x. So I'm splitting my middle term up into those two. So then I want to bring down my 7x squared and my plus 8, and then I want to continue factor by grouping, so I can take out a 7x, leaving me with x minus 4. I can take out a negative 2, leaving me with x minus 4. And if I complete the factor by grouping, then this is what I get. Okay, I'm going to copy that up here. Okay, so I have this factor times this factor, and it's equal to 0. So according to the zero product property, basically I'm just going to set both of these equal to 0. So I kind of have two branches to my problem now. I have x minus 4 is equal to 0, and I have 7x minus 2 is equal to 0. So if I solve these two equations, I get x is equal to 4, and here I get 7x is equal to 2, and x is equal to 2 over 7. So that would be one answer, and this would be my second answer. So again, after you factor, set each factor equal to 0. So it will break off into multiple parts, multiple branches of the question. And you want to solve each branch for x. So these are my two answers.